live in a world that feels, I don't know, like a constant flood of information, right?
Absolutely. It's nonstop.
And it's so easy for our minds to just get clouded by negative thoughts.
Yeah.
It can really stop you in your tracks.
Mm-hmm. Information overload is definitely a thing.
Yeah. And I think we're all kind of looking for that shortcut, that way to just cut through the noise and feel genuinely informed without getting overwhelmed.
It's a common feeling, trying to find clarity and perspective when there's just so much coming at us.
Exactly. And that's really the mission here with this deep dive, to try and distill some clarity from all that complexity. So today we're diving deep into Stoicism.
Stoicism, an ancient philosophy.
Right. Ancient, but surprisingly relevant. It holds these incredibly potent practical tools for modern life. And our focus today is specifically on using it to transform those negative thoughts, those inevitable negative experiences, into, actual opportunities for growth.
Yeah, and it really boils down to understanding the power of your mindset, doesn't it?
It does. It's crucial.
What's really fascinating to me is how these ancient principles, and they're often really misunderstood, people think it's just about suppressing emotion.
Right, stiff upper lip kind of thing.
Exactly. But they actually offer this sort of roadmap for profound inner freedom, real resilience.
Okay.
So we'll unpack some practical Stoic strategies that can genuinely empower you, the listener, to shift your thinking, build up that inner calm, and, navigate challenges with a new sense of purpose.
Okay, let's unpack that then. Because you're right, when people hear Stoicism, I think many do picture someone completely emotionless, maybe even a bit grim.
Yeah, that's the stereotype.
But that's a common misconception, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what is Stoicism really at its heart, beyond those popular ideas?
That's a really crucial point to start with. So Stoicism, it was founded way back in Athens, early 3rd century BC, by Zeno of Citium.
Zeno.
And fundamentally, it isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about mastering them. It's about understanding them through reason.
Mastering, not suppressing.
Got it. Right, and you have these incredibly influential figures later on, like Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius.
Names people might recognize.
Exactly, and they refined these ideas. They emphasized rationality, self-control, and virtue, living a good life, as the true path to, what they called eudaimonia, a flourishing life.
Eudaimonia.
Flourishing, yeah. It's about living in accordance with nature, with reason, not fighting reality, but understanding it.
Okay, so it's less about being unfeeling and much more about being in control of your responses to feelings, to events.
Precisely.
And you mentioned that at the heart of that control for the Stoics was this really vital distinction, understanding what's in our power and what isn't. Can you elaborate on that? Why is that specific distinction so foundational for dealing with negativity?
This is the absolute cornerstone. It's often called the dichotomy of control.
Dichotomy of control.
Yeah, Epictetus put it really simply. Some things are within our control and some things are not. It sounds obvious, maybe.
A little, yeah. But what falls into each category?
Okay, so within our control are things like our opinions, our impulses, our desires, our aversions. Basically, our internal world, our judgments, our choices, our actions.
Our thoughts and actions.
Right, everything else.
Right.
Pretty much not in our control. Our bodies, they get sick, they age. Our possessions, they can be lost. Our reputation depends on others. External events, the weather, politics, other people's behavior.
So almost everything external.
Almost everything. And just recognizing this distinction, truly internalizing it, it immediately frees up huge amounts of energy.
How so?
Because you stop wasting mental and emotional effort fighting against things you literally cannot change.
Right, like getting angry about the rain.
Exactly. Or stressing endlessly about what someone else thinks of you. Instead, you direct that energy towards what you can control. Your thoughts, your judgments about the rain, your actions in response to what others think.
Okay.
This rational discernment, this clarity, is how the Stoics built resilience. It's how they navigated life's difficulties, not by magically avoiding problems, but by approaching them with purpose and calm.
That makes a lot of sense. So, okay, once we sort of grasp that fundamental idea, the first practical step in actually transforming negativity has to be recognizing those negative thoughts when they pop up.
Yes.
It sounds like it requires developing some pretty rigorous self-awareness. How did the Stoics actually approach that, this sort of internal audit?
Well, they were really pioneers in self-awareness, you could say. Take Marcus Aurelius, his Meditations, which many people have read.
Yeah, famous book.
It was essentially his private journal. And he wasn't just recording events, he was examining his own impressions, those initial, often automatic judgments he made about situations.
Impressions, like first reaction.
Exactly, his gut reactions. He pulled them apart, dissect his emotional responses, and challenge whether they were actually true or helpful. Which raises a good question for us, right? Are we really aware of the stories we tell ourselves in our heads?
Right.
Or are we just letting those negative narratives run on autopilot?
Yeah, because unchecked, those narratives, as you said, they can spiral. Anxiety, feeling down, low self-esteem, it all feeds itself.
It creates a cycle. Definitely.
Okay, so journaling then, it's not just about like venting or getting things off your chest. For a Stoic, it was a specific exercise in self-examination.
Absolutely, a philosophical tool.
So when you write those thoughts down, you're tracking patterns, maybe seeing triggers, getting feelings out.
Yeah.
But the key thing is creating distance to reflect more objectively.
Precisely. It externalizes the thought so you can look at it rather than just being in it.
What kind of questions might someone practicing this ask themselves in their journal to really facilitate that Stoic reflection?
Good question. So beyond just what happened today or how did I feel, a Stoic prompt might be something like, what impression did I agree to today that caused me distress?
Agree to, like accept it as true.
Yeah, assented to is the technical term. Did I accept an impression as fact when it was actually just a judgment I added? Or maybe, what did I desire today that was outside my control?
Linking back to the dichotomy of control.
Exactly. And how could I redirect that desire towards something that is within my power, like focusing on my own effort rather than a specific outcome?
That's it.
By doing this regularly, you're not just acknowledging a negative thought, you're putting it under the microscope of reason. You're paving the way for a more rational and often more positive response next time.
Okay. And once we start identifying these impressions, these initial thoughts, how do we stop them from immediately hijacking our emotions? Which brings us, I think, to cultivating inner calm through mindfulness.
Yes.
Now, lots of people think mindfulness is, a very modern, maybe Eastern concept.
Yeah.
How does it actually connect with ancient Stoicism?
It's a great connection to make. While they didn't use the exact word mindfulness, the Stoics practiced something very, very similar. They called it the discipline of assent.
Discipline of assent.
Yeah. It's basically the practice of being fully present and observing your thoughts and feelings without immediately agreeing with them, assenting to them, or acting on them impulsively.
So pausing before you judge or react.
Precisely. It's about carefully examining an impression, that initial thought or feeling, before you give it your mental okay, before deciding, yes, this is true, and letting it dictate your actions. That internal pause is key.
It creates a space, doesn't it, between the stimulus and the response?
Exactly that space. And that's where rational thought can step in. It allows for thoughtful reactions rather than just impulsive ones.
And the benefits are pretty clear, right? Reduced stress, better emotional regulation, more clarity and judgment.
Things we'd all want.
Definitely. Huge benefits.
So for someone listening, beyond maybe sitting down for formal meditation, what are some practical ways to cultivate this kind of present awareness in daily life, maybe in a specifically Stoic way?
Well, think about Epictetus' advice. Practice from the start with the least things.
Start small.
Yeah. Don't try to tackle your biggest emotional triggers right away.
Okay.
Apply this awareness to small, everyday moments, when you're just walking, for instance. Notice your breath, feel your feet on the ground, pay attention to the sights, the sounds around you.
Not zoning out, but zoning in. Exactly. Not to escape, but to really anchor yourself in the present reality. Or, okay, here's another one. You hit a minor irritation. Someone cuts you off in traffic.
Happens all the time.
Right. The typical reaction is immediate anger, frustration. But using this discipline, you pause. You observe that initial flash of anger. Then you ask yourself, is this event inherently bad? Or is my judgment about it making it seem bad? Is the other driver's behavior truly within my control?
No, it isn't.
Right. So maybe you can choose a different response. This kind of deep understanding and questioning of your thoughts, that's how you start transforming negativity into a more balanced, rational outlook.
That pause and questioning, it leads perfectly into the next idea. Shifting perspective through what psychologists call cognitive reframing.
Yes, a very powerful technique with strong Stoic roots.
And this isn't just about pretending something bad is good, is it? It's not just putting on rose-tinted glasses.
No, not at all. It's not denial. It's about consciously choosing your interpretation of reality, finding a more constructive or useful way to look at a situation.
Okay. How did the Stoics practice this?
Well, one famous Stoic exercise is called premeditatio malorum.
Premeditation of evils. Sounds a bit grim.
It sounds negative, right? But it's actually not about being pessimistic. It's about briefly, rationally contemplating potential setbacks. Thinking ahead. What if I lost my job? What if this project fails? What if I get sick?
Why would you do that? Seems like inviting worry.
But the goal isn't to dwell on the negative or invite disaster. It's to mentally prepare, to rehearse encountering difficulty. And crucially, to realize that even if these things happen, you can still maintain your inner equilibrium. You can still choose to act virtuously. It reduces the shock and fear if things do go wrong.
Okay, so it's a form of mental resilience training.
Exactly, and it helps you reframe challenges when they do occur.
So let's take a real-world example. Say someone faces a big setback, like losing their job, or a major project they poured their heart into fails completely. How would they apply Stoic reframing there?
Okay, so instead of viewing the job loss purely as a personal failure or a catastrophe, which is an interpretation, a judgment,
Right.
a Stoic approach would be to first see it as an external event, something that happened largely outside their ultimate control. It's indifferent to their inner character. The opportunity then lies in their response.
What's the opportunity?
Maybe it's an opportunity to explore completely new career paths they wouldn't have considered, or to develop new skills, or maybe even just to step back and reassess what they truly value in work and life.
Finding the useful perspective.
Exactly. And with the failed project, it's not a sign they're inherently incapable. It's maybe a chance to reassess the goals, the strategies, perhaps learn a vital lesson about planning or teamwork or perseverance or even just the limits of their control over outcomes.
This whole process really requires what psychologists now call a growth mindset, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Seeing challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities to learn, adapt, and grow stronger, that's resilience. That's optimism grounded in reason.
That distinction you keep coming back to between the event itself and our judgment about the event, it feels really freeing when you think about it.
It is.
And that leads us right into another fundamental Stoic principle, embracing acceptance, which sounds passive, maybe, but isn't.
No, it's incredibly active mentally. It's about consciously focusing your energy on what is within your control, your thoughts, your actions, and actively releasing resistance to what you absolutely cannot change.
Like other people's behavior or unforeseen events.
Exactly. Seneca, another great Stoic, wrote something like, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality."
Meaning we worry about things that haven't happened.
Partly that, but also that much of our stress, our suffering comes from mentally fighting against or constantly fretting over external circumstances we can't influence, other people's choices, unexpected delays, the economy, even the weather.
Things totally beyond our control.
Completely. When you truly accept, not just intellectually, but deeply accept that these externals are, in a sense, indifferent to your core self, and that your only true good lies in your own virtuous response, well, you free yourself from so much unnecessary stress and frustration.
It sounds incredibly empowering, actually. Not like giving up, but like choosing where to fight your battles.
That's a great way to put it. When you internalize that external events aren't inherently good or bad, only your judgments make them, so it really does reduce anxiety. It frees up so much mental energy.
So acceptance isn't resignation. It's more like a strategic allocation of your precious energy.
Exactly. It's directing your focus, your effort towards your thoughts and actions, the only things you truly control. When you stop resisting things you cannot change, you genuinely experience a profound sense of freedom, of peace. It reduces that constant background hum of anxiety and empowers you to respond with clarity and resilience no matter what life throws at you.
Okay, so you started to identify thoughts, practice that pause, reframe things, and accept what you can't control. How do you then actively cultivate a more positive internal landscape?
Great question, because it's not just about neutralizing the negative, it's also about fostering the positive. And one really powerful way to shift your focus is by consistently practicing gratitude.
Gratitude seems simple, but effective.
Incredibly effective. Gratitude is a potent counter-practice to our brain's natural negativity bias, our tendency to focus on what's wrong or what's lacking.
Right, the things that annoy us often grab our attention more.
They do. But research consistently shows that actively cultivating gratitude leads to measurable improvements in mental health, increased happiness, reduced feelings of depression and anxiety. It's not just a fuzzy feeling, it's a cognitive habit you can build. It literally helps rewire your brain pathways.
So how do you practice it? What's a practical way?
One of the most straightforward and effective methods is gratitude journaling.
Journaling again. Seems important for Stoics.
It is. But this time, it's simpler. It doesn't have to be some grand essay. Just take a few moments each day, maybe morning or evening, to specifically write down a few things you're genuinely thankful for.
What sort of things? Big things? Small things?
Anything. Could be big things like your health or your family. But often the small things are just as powerful. The taste of your morning coffee, a sunny day, a kind word from someone, the fact that you have a roof over your head. It trains your mind to actively scan for and recognize the positive aspects of your life, however small they might seem.
So you're deliberately shifting your attention.
Yes, consider it practicing virtuous attention. By consistently noticing and appreciating the good, you strengthen your ability to see it. The simple, consistent practice can fundamentally transform your perspective over time. It fosters optimism, enhances your mood, and just enriches your overall experience of life. It helps you see challenges when they arise against a backdrop of things that are actually okay.
That makes sense. It builds a kind of positive foundation. Okay, let's talk about building mental strength and resilience.
Yes, crucial.
Resilience is basically the ability to bounce back from adversity, right? But for Stoics, it wasn't just about bouncing back to where you were, was it?
No, it was more than that. It was about using adversity to grow stronger, to become better. Stoicism teaches that challenges aren't just inevitable parts of life. They are actually essential for developing virtue, for developing character.
Like exercise for the soul.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Epictetus basically said, difficulties are things that show what men and women are. They test you, and in doing so, they reveal and build your strength. So developing resilience allows us to face these inevitable challenges not with fear, but with strength and composure. Think of it as building and reinforcing your inner citadel.
Your inner fortress.
Exactly. That impregnable fortress of your mind and character that external events can't breach.
So how do we build that fortress? What are some practical techniques for cultivating this kind of mental toughness? It's got to be more than just telling yourself to be strong, right?
Oh, definitely. It's very practical. First, it involves setting realistic goals, but then also mentally preparing for obstacles. Remember the premeditatio malorum.
Right, anticipating challenges.
Yes. It also means practicing self-compassion when you inevitably stumble. Stoicism isn't about harsh self-criticism, it's about rational self-correction. Understanding you're human, you'll make mistakes, and learning from them without beating yourself up.
That's important. What else?
Maintaining a strong support network is key too. Even the great Stoic philosophers weren't truly isolated. They valued friendship and community. Talking things through helps. And crucially, engaging in regular reflection. Going back to that journaling idea, perhaps. Processing experiences, learning from them, understanding your reactions, like Marcus Aurelius did constantly.
Learning from experience.
Absolutely. And a big part of it is consistently viewing setbacks not as failures, but as, well, training opportunities, as data, as invaluable lessons. By reframing challenges in this way, you cultivate a mindset that doesn't just tolerate learning, but actively embraces adaptation and growth.
Okay, so all these strategies, self-awareness, mindfulness, reframing, acceptance, gratitude, resilience, they all seem to point towards one critical outcome, taking proactive steps.
Yes, action is essential.
It feels like this is where the rubber meets the road. You can understand all these ideas, but you need to act to actually address negative situations and foster that positive mindset.
Precisely. Understanding without action doesn't change much. Taking responsibility for your actions, your choices, your responses, that's the ultimate empowering step. It puts the locus of control firmly back with you.
Taking responsibility, that sounds key.
It's paramount. Because once you own your responses, you can then set achievable goals. And the key here is achievable. It's about breaking down larger challenges, things that feel overwhelming, into smaller, manageable tasks.
Bite-sized pieces.
Exactly. This does two things. It helps you maintain focus and motivation because you see progress, and it significantly reduces that feeling of being overwhelmed. It turns a daunting mountain into a series of small, conquerable steps.
And perseverance. Just keeping going.
Perseverance is vital, but it's informed by that Stoic understanding that setbacks aren't failures. They're just part of the process, part of the journey. They're expected, almost.
So you don't get completely derailed when things go wrong.
Right. Embracing that idea encourages you to keep moving forward, applying reason, adjusting your strategy, but not giving up just because you've hit an obstacle. Ultimately, taking action guided by these Stoic principles of reason, virtue, and focusing on what's in your control transforms negativity from something that paralyzes you into a powerful catalyst for growth, for profound resilience. It's moving from just thinking about it to actually doing it.
Okay, so as we start to wrap up this deep dive, we've really journeyed through how this ancient Stoic wisdom offers a surprisingly practical, modern toolkit for transforming negativity.
Yeah, it stood the test of time for a reason.
We started by trying to dismantle some common misconceptions, making it clear it's about mastering emotions through reason, not just suppressing them.
Right. And then we dove into that core idea, the dichotomy of control, and the incredible clarity that comes from really understanding what's yours to manage and what isn't.
And we uncovered the importance of active self-awareness, maybe through journaling, challenging those initial impressions.
And finding that inner calm through the discipline of assent, that mindful pause. Plus the powerful shift in perspective you get from cognitive reframing, including thinking ahead with practices like premeditatio malorum.
And then we moved into the freedom found in genuine acceptance of what you can't change.
The transformative power of actively practicing gratitude.
Building that mental fortitude, that resilience, seeing challenges as training.
And finally, tying it all together with the essential step of taking proactive, responsible action to steer your life.
Yeah, it feels like each of these strategies, drawn from these Stoic thinkers, really plays a vital role in fostering a more positive mindset, a more resilient self, and ultimately enhancing your overall well-being.
Absolutely. It's fundamentally not about changing the world around you first, but about changing your relationship to the world, changing your inner landscape.
So here's a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe mull over. As you start to incorporate some of these ancient Stoic ideas into your own daily rhythm, maybe ask yourself this: how might focusing your energy less on just avoiding negativity or achieving specific outcomes and more on the process itself, the process of cultivating inner virtue, wisdom, and self-mastery? How might that focus on the journey open up entirely new avenues of calm and growth, especially when the unexpected inevitably arises?